Hi, yogis. We're going to get started in Sukhasana, easy seated pose. So bring your legs into a comfortable cross-leg position. Move the flesh away from your sit bones and really ground yourself down into your mat. If you prefer to sit on a bolster or a blanket or something underneath your bottom, go ahead and grab that and use that now. Have your palms facing down on your knees. Your shoulders are up and rolled back away from your ears. Your spine is long. Your chest is lifted. Your chin is parallel to the earth. And your crown of your head is reaching up towards the sky, elongating your spine. Let's take a couple of deep cleansing breaths here, in through your nose and out through your mouth, just to start to release any tension or anything you brought onto the mat with you today. So take a deep breath in through your nose and exhale out your mouth. You can make it as loud as you want to. The louder, the better. Another inhale through your nose, filling your body up with air, and exhale, releasing anything that you no longer need to bring onto the mat with you today. One more time. Big inhale and exhale out your mouth. Now go ahead, have your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you, and begin to just breathe in through your nose and out through your nose at a comfortable pace. Just starting to settle in, getting connected to your breath, connected to this space. This practice is all about camel pose, and camel pose is a very big heart opener, which can make you feel very exposed and very vulnerable. But being vulnerable can be a very powerful thing. So my affirmation or mantra for this practice is, I find strength in vulnerability. You can say that along with me, or you can use a mantra that speaks to you, or you don't have to use one at all. It's totally up to you. Just continue breathing here in through your nose, maybe to the count of 4, and exhale to the count of 4. Just really connecting to your breath, connecting to each other. A couple more breaths here. I find strength in vulnerability. Go ahead and drop your chin towards your chest, stretching out the back of your neck here. Just continuing to breathe. Take your chin over, take your head over towards your left shoulder. Pulling down gently on your right shoulder, just elongating the stretch, deepening it just a little bit. Being gentle, just warming up your body, waking it up. Bring your head back towards center and then take it to the other side. Pulling down gently on your left shoulder. Stretching out the other side of your neck. Breathing into any tension or tightness. If you feel it, just start to let it soften. Bring your head back to center. Lift your head. Blink your eyes open if they were closed. A couple of shoulder rolls here. So take your shoulders forward, up towards your ear and down your back. Moving slowly, intentionally. Again, feeling any tension or tightness, and just start to relax that area. Let it soften down. One more in this direction. And then the other direction. So take them back and forward. Starting to really feel into your body. Now, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. We're going to do Yoga Mudra. So keep your same seated position. Clasp your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders up and away down your back, and bring your fists or your clasped palms down towards the earth. Now, you're not really trying to open your chest here too far or bend your back. We're not back bending. So just pull your hands down, opening up your shoulders. If it's available, you can start to lift them just slightly off your bottom. Breathe here, starting to open up your chest, open up your shoulders. Keep your chin parallel to the earth. I find strength in vulnerability. Big, deep breaths, starting to create that space in your heart. Go ahead and release your hands. Take your feet and place them down onto the mat. And then have your hands on either side of your bottom. And let your knees tip over towards the left, having your knee inside of your foot. Going to take a nice twist here. So inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale, bring your right hand to your left knee. Left hand goes behind you. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist in. Warming up your spine now. Inhale. And exhale, twist in just a little bit deeper. One more big breath in. And exhale, twisting in. Come back to center and switch your legs out into the other direction. Bring your left hand to your right knee. Right hand goes behind you. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, twisting in. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. Come back to center. And now swing your legs out in front of you, coming onto your bottom. Bend your knees and slowly roll yourself down to the mat. Not towards it, to it. Bring your right knee in towards your chest and just begin to move it around just gently. Again, feeling into any tension, starting to mentally tell yourself to relax, let your body soften. Then take your right foot up towards the sky like you're trying to stand on it, keeping your knee bent. Grab the outer edge of your right foot. Pull your knee down towards your armpit, down towards the mat. Half happy baby. Just moving gently here if that feels good, or you can find stillness. Keeping your left foot flexed. Bring your left hand behind your head. We're going to warm up your core just a little bit with a few crunches. So inhale. And on an exhale, crunch up. Inhale, release. Exhale, crunch. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale. Exhale, crunch up. One more inhale. And exhale, crunch up. Inhale, release your head back down. Bend your knee. Hug it in again. Little wiggle around. Release your right leg out straight, flexing your foot, and bring your left knee in towards your chest. Again, hugging it in, just moving it around a little, feeling any tightness. Take your left foot up towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Grab the outer edge of your left foot, pulling it down towards the mat, towards your armpit. Moving around just a little bit here. Waking up your hips. Bring your right hand behind your head. A few crunches here. Inhale. Exhale, crunch up. Inhale, release. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, release. And exhale, crunch up. Inhale, release. Exhale, crunch up. And one more. Inhale, release. And exhale, crunch up. Inhale, release your head back down. Bend your knee. Give it another little gentle hug, a little wiggle around. And place your left foot on the mat and bring your right foot up to meet it. Bridge pose. Have both of your knees pointing straight up towards the ceiling. Your feet are about hip width apart. Arms are by your side and shoulders are rolled under slightly. Now, if you've never done bridge pose before, please watch me before you do it, because once you lift your hips, you really don't want to move your neck around too much. You could cause an injury. So on an inhale, press down into your feet and lift your hips up towards the sky. Keeping your chin tucked here, your gaze where the wall and the ceiling meet. And breathe. Engage your quads so your knees don't fall open towards the side. If it's available to you, clasp your hands underneath your bottom. Roll one shoulder under just a little bit more, and then the other one. Lifting your hips just a little bit higher, and breathe. This is your first big heart opener. And smile. Don't forget to smile. One more big breath in. Exhale, release your arms. Inhale, lift your heels and slowly roll your spine down to the mat. Take your feet as wide as the mat and let your knees come into touch. Just breathing here, feeling all of the space that you just created in your body. You might feel a lot of energy starting to move around now. Maybe some emotions are starting to move around. That's all normal. Just observe them and let them go. One more bridge. So bring your feet back into hip width distance apart, knees up towards the sky, palms face down on either side of your body, shoulders rolled under slightly. On an inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky, breathing here. Gaze where the wall and the ceiling meet. Make sure you can breathe. Clasp your hands again underneath your bottom. Roll one shoulder under and the other, just a little bit more. Opening that chest up just a little bit more. And breathe. I find strength in vulnerability. One more big breath in. And exhale, release your hands, lift your heels, and slowly roll your spine down towards the mat. Take your feet as wide as the mat. Let your knees come into touch. And again, just take a couple of breaths here. Letting all that energy settle down. Bring both of your knees in toward your chest. Just rock a little from side to side, releasing your lower back. Going to rock and roll up and down your spine a couple of times. Now, if that is not comfortable for you or your spine, then please just take yourself up to a standing position. But if you're coming with me, just rock and roll up and down just a few times. One more. And then come right up to stand, coming into Tadasana at the top of your mat. Now let's find your Tadasana. Big toes come together to touch, or your feet can be fist width apart. Lift your toes up, fan them out, and then feather them down lightly into the mat, really gripping the mat with your toes. Find all four corners of your feet, and then come into stillness. You want your hips over your ankles. So your quads are slightly engaged here so you don't hyperextend in your knees. Your pelvis is neutral, which means your booty's not popping out. It's not tucking under. Nice and neutral. Hips square towards the front of the mat. Your spine is long, chest is lifted, like there's a string pulling your head up towards the sky. Shoulders rolled up and back. Your chin is parallel to the earth, and your hands are facing in towards your side. So just take a couple of nice deep breaths here. In through your nose and out through your mouth. One more in through your nose, out through your mouth. Grounding down. Now on your next inhale, arms come out overhead, palms touch. Exhale, tilt your pelvis forward, coming down with a nice flat spine. Head and hands hang, finding your forward fold. Knees can be slightly bent here. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back, chin is tucked, monkey pose. Exhale, forward fold again, keeping your knees slightly bent here. On an inhale, take your arms out to the side, come up with a nice flat spine, palms touch overhead. Exhale, release your arms down by your side, Tadasana. Again, arms up, out to the side, palms touch. Exhale, hinging forward at the hips, coming down, nice flat back, head and hands hang, Tadasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, monkey pose, nice flat back. Exhale, plant your palms, step one foot back, then the other, coming into plank pose. You can drop your knees here, one coming through a vinyasa. So shift your shoulders forward over your wrists. Exhale, lowering yourself all the way down to the mat. Nice and slow, elbows in tight. Release your toes. Inhale, lift your chest, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, tuck your toes. Lift yourself straight up into plank, knees on or off the mat. Exhale, hips up and back, coming into your first downward facing dog. Let's check on your alignment. Fingertips are pointed towards the front of the mat. The meaty part of your hand, your knuckles right here, are really ground down into the mat. Can't even fit a piece of paper in between your hand and the mat. Shoulders are wrapped, which means your armpits are closed. Nice straight line from your fingertips all the way up to your tailbone. So you might tilt your tailbone up just a little bit towards the sky. Keep your knees bent here. Your hamstrings might be a little grumpy. It's the beginning of practice. So go ahead and walk your dog, bending into your left knee. Right heel goes down towards the mat, bending into your right knee. Left heel goes down. Do that a couple more times, just warming it up. And then bring both heels down towards the mat. They do not have to touch. Breathing here in through your nose and out through your nose. On an inhale, lift your right leg up and back. Exhale, bring your knee towards your chest. Step your foot in between your hands and drop your left knee towards the mat, to the mat. Inhale, arms come up overhead, kneeling warrior. Finding alignment here. Your right knee is directly on top of your right ankle. Your pelvis is neutral again. So you're not dipping way down. You see that a lot. Keep your spine nice and straight. Your pelvis is neutral. Arms up overhead. Shoulders are wrapped again. Pinkies towards each other. Breathe here. I find strength in vulnerability. One more inhale. And exhale. Bring your left hand down to the outer left side of your mat. Right hand to your hip. Begin to open your chest, twisting from your belly button towards the right long edge of your mat. Arm goes up. Breathe here. And smile. Smiling produces serotonin, which makes us happy. Now begin to bend your left knee, bringing your left heel towards your bottom. This is a good place to stay. If you feel that stretch in your quad, stay right here. If you want a little bit more sensation, reach back, grab your foot, and bring your heel towards your bottom, pulling it in. But don't lose your twist. Keep twisting open. And breathe. We're waking up your quads now. Release your foot. Bring your right hand down on the outside of your right foot. Lift your back knee. Step back to plank pose. Knees on or off the mat, going through a vinyasa. Nice and slow. Shift forward, shoulders over wrist. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Release your toes. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, tuck your toes. Knees on or off the mat. Press yourself straight up into a plank pose, building your strength here. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths. Inhale through your nose and out your nose. Anytime, though, that you feel that you need a cleansing breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, please take one. We are moving a lot of energy around, a lot of emotion around, so sometimes you need to release. On your next inhale, left leg goes up and back. Exhale, knee to chest. Step your foot through in between your hands. Drop your right knee to the mat. Inhale, rising up. Kneeling warrior. Find your alignment. Left knee directly on top of your ankle. Pelvis is nice and neutral. Your spine is long and lifted up towards the sky. Shoulders are wrapped, pinkies towards each other, and breathe. If you ever want to go a little deeper, move your front foot forward just a little and sink down a little more. Now bring your right hand down to your mat. You could also use your block here. Grab a block and bring the earth up to you, whatever's more comfortable for you. Bring your right hand down. Begin to twist open at the belly, looking towards the left. Left arm goes up. Really remember to push into your right hand so you're not dumping down into your shoulder. Breathe and smile. I find strength in vulnerability. Bend your right knee, bringing your right heel towards your bottom. This is a beautiful place to stay. More sensation. Grab your foot with your left hand and bring your heel towards your bottom. But don't lose your twist. Keep twisting open. Release your foot. Plant both of your palms on either side of your foot. Lift your back knee. Step back to plank, knees on or off the mat. One more nice vinyasa, nice and slow. Shift yourself forward, lowering down, elbows in tight. Release your toes. Inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, release. Inhale, tuck your toes. Press yourself straight up into plank, hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths here. In through the nose and out through the nose. Go ahead and drop your knees down to the mat, coming into tabletop position. Now bring your shoulders directly over your wrists, your hips are over your knees, toes can be tucked. On an inhale, arch your spine, looking forward, opening your chest. Cow pose. Round your spine, look at your belly. Inhale. Tailbone goes up, looking forward. Exhale, tailbone goes down. Look at your belly. One more time, inhaling. And exhale. Inhale, come back to neutral. Take your right leg out straight behind you, pressing back, your heel back towards the wall, stretching into your back, your hamstring and your calf. Take your left toes, your left foot, and swing it out to where your left shin is 90 degrees. Stay on your toes. Spin your right foot down to the mat. Inhale, open up here, pressing into your left shoulder. Open your chest up. Arm goes up. Modified side plank. Breathe here. Now we're going to bring a little heat. Lift your right leg up. You can stay right here. Bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand to grab your right foot. Press your right foot into your right hand, opening your chest up even more. This is a modified sugarcane pose. Smile. Release your foot back out. Arm goes back up to the sky. Bring your arm back down to the mat, hand back down. Spin your left foot back to normal and come back into tabletop position. We'll do one cat-cow. So on an inhale, arch your spine, look forward. Exhale, round your spine. Chin to chest. Inhale, back to neutral. Left foot goes out behind you, pushing your left heel towards the back wall. Pushing, stretching. Take your right toes, spin them out to where your shin is 90 degrees to the mat, toes on the mat. Spin your left foot down, bringing it to the mat, and begin to open up. Modified side plank. You can lift your arm. Bring in the heat again. Lift your left leg up. This is a modified half moon pose. Bend your knee, reach back and grab your foot. Press your foot into your hand. You're really opening your shoulder, your chest, your quads. It's an amazing stretch. You're really opening yourself up right here. Release your foot. Take it back out straight. Left hand comes down. Spin your right toes back in. Bend your knee. Come back to the mat. Back to tabletop position. One more cat-cow. Inhale. Tilting your tailbone up. Looking forward. Exhale. Tilting your tailbone down. Chin to chest. Inhale. Stay right here. Now come, sit back on your heels, and we're going to come into camel pose. Now, camel pose is a big pose. It can be very intimidating to hear it, but just like everything, there are steps, and there are modifications, and there are options. You will have options all the time. But the main thing with this pose is to be gentle and go slow. Take it easy on you and be gentle and go slow with yourself. It's not just a big physical pose, it's big mentally and emotionally too. So take your time. Come to stand up on your knees. Tuck your back toes. Hips are right over your knees. Hips over your knees. Quads are engaged. You're about hip width apart, your legs. Hands can be on your hips, on your lower back, palms facing, or fingertips facing down, or you can have your fingertips facing up. I usually have mine facing down. Your tailbone is going down towards the earth. You're elongating it. You're pulling it down towards the earth. Because you really want to make sure your hips stay over your knees. On an inhale, roll your shoulders up and back and begin to tilt back or bend back from your mid to upper back. Look where the ceiling and the wall meet and breathe. And you are in camel pose. Smile. On your next inhale, engage your core. Slowly lift yourself back up. Sit back on your heels, or if that's not a comfortable position, grab a block, put it in between your feet, and sit back on your block. Have your palms facing up on your thighs. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Camel pose is a big pose, and it moves around a lot of energy, a lot of emotions. So we're going to take it slow and give your body a chance to process a little bit of what's going on. Come and stand back up on your knees. Grab both of your blocks this time. Body's going to be in the same position, toes tucked. Legs are hip width apart, quads are engaged, tailbone pointing down towards the earth, hips over knees. This time, have your blocks on the highest setting on the outside of each of your feet. Hands on your hips, on your lower back. Again, inhale, roll your shoulders up and back. Begin to bend back from your mid-back to your upper back. Stay right here. If this is good for you and your body says this is where we need to be today, then stay right here. Always listen to your body. You want to take it a little further. Bring one hand to one block and then the other hand to the other block. Still opening your chest up, pushing your hips forward, keeping your gaze where the wall and the ceiling meet. Breathe. When you're ready, let go of one block, bring a hand to your hips and the other. Raise yourself up using your core strength. Sit back down on your heels or on your block. and breathe here. Again, palms facing up, which means we're open to receive. Because right now we've opened our hearts up. You've released a lot of emotion, and now it's time to receive some love. I find strength in vulnerability. One more camel. Come back up on your knees. Toes tucked. Legs hip width apart. Quads engaged. Tailbones down towards the earth. Hips over your knees. Arms, hands on your hips. Lower back. Inhale. Roll your shoulders up and back and begin to tilt back from your mid to upper back. Again, you can stay right here. You can use the blocks again. If you're feeling good in both of these positions, you can bring one hand to one heel, your right hand to your right heel, then your left hand to your left heel. Remember to push your hips forward, really arching your spine, opening up. You can keep your gaze to where the wall and the ceiling meet, or if it's comfortable for you, you can drop your head back if Camel is something that you practice regularly. And breathe. Feel all that space. When you're ready to come out, bring one hand to your hip, then the other, and then lift yourself up. And again, sit back on your heels. Palms facing up on your thighs, and just breathe here. Sit in that space that you've just created. Feel all of that energy and emotion. If anything negative comes up, please just acknowledge it and let it go. You have released it. If you have your blocks on the mat, just go ahead and move them out of your way. Take your knees as wide as your mat. Big toes come together to touch, and sink your bottom down towards your heels, coming into modified child's pose. Your arms can go all the way out in front of you, bringing your forehead to the mat, or you can stack your fists here and rest your forehead on your fists. And now start to breathe in and out of your nose, but try to elongate your exhale. So if you're breathing in to the count of 4, try to exhale to the count of 6 or 7. When we change our breathing pattern to this breath pattern, it signals our bodies and our brains that the hard work is done. It's time to slow down now. Breathing here, filling the air, feeling it fill up your back body. This is letting your spine come back to neutral, relaxing your hips. Just a few more breaths here. Slowly push yourself back up, coming to a seat. Sit here for a second. Let yourself get balanced. You might get a little dizzy. Go ahead and swing your legs out in front of you, coming to a seat on your bottom. Move the flesh away from your sit bones, really grounding yourself down into the mat, or if you would like a bolster or a blanket or something to sit on, please get it. Keeping your knees slightly bent, hands on either side of your legs. Coming into Paschimottanasana, or forward fold, which is a great counter stretch for camel pose. So inhale, lengthen your spine. On an exhale, tilt your pelvis forward, sticking your tailbone out, bringing your chest towards your big toes. You really want to make sure that your lower back stays nice and long and straight. Breathe here, coming to where you feel sensation. Keeping your feet very flexed. If you can keep your nice flat back and your pelvic tilt, go ahead and straighten your legs out. But if you start to round in, keep them bent. And breathe. Again, breathing into the count of 4 and exhaling to maybe 6 or 7. I find strength and vulnerability. On your next inhale, slowly walk yourself back up to sit. Give yourself a second again, just in case you might get a little dizzy. Bend your knees, scoot your bottom forward, and slowly roll yourself down onto the mat. Just lay here for a second. I'm going to do a spinal twist. Anytime you do a big heart opener or back bending like that, I always like to do a twist afterwards. It'll help your spine go back to where it's supposed to be. So cross your right leg over your left leg. Scoot your hips over towards the right and let your knees fall over towards the left. Your arms can be out in a T. Your gaze can go over your left hand if that's comfortable on your neck. And of course, if having your legs crossed is a bit too much on your lower back and you're like, I don't really like that, uncross your legs and just have one knee on top of the other. It'll mellow it out. It softens the pose a little bit. Because remember, no pinching, no pain, ever. Inhale, come back up to center. Uncross your legs and then cross your left leg over your right leg. Scoot your hips over towards the left just a little bit and let your knees drop over towards the right, taking your gaze over your left hand. Again, if that's good on your neck. And again, you can always just have your knees stacked on top of each other. Options. On your next inhale, slowly bring your knees up, uncross your legs, and bring both knees into your chest. And give yourself a big hug. And I want you to hug yourself like you are hugging somebody you love. Show yourself that same amount of energy that you give to other people. Then go ahead and release your legs out straight, letting them fall out wide, however they want. Arms out by your side, coming into Shavasana. Just scan your body very quickly to see if there's anywhere else that you might be holding on to any tension. Maybe your forehead, your jaw, your shoulders, your hips. Just let everything soften. Take a deep breath in. Exhale out your mouth. And just drop. I encourage you, if you have time, to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to stay here in this Shavasana. If you are coming with me, just begin to bring some slight movement to your fingers and your toes, deepening your breath. Bring a little movement to your wrists, your ankles. You can take your head from side to side if that feels good. Take your arms up overhead and give yourself one big full body stretch. Oh, that feels so good. And relax. Bend both of your knees, bringing the soles of your feet to the mat. Bring your knees in towards your chest and then slowly roll yourself over towards the right side, using your right arm as a pillow. Take a couple of breaths here just to let your body come back into balance before you sit up. And when you're ready, slowly push yourself up, keeping your eyes closed if that's okay. If not, you can open them. Coming back into Sukhasana, easy seated pose, coming into a comfortable cross-legged position. Settling down into your mat. Have your palms face down on your knees. Breathing here, just checking in with how you're feeling. You just did a lot of work. You moved a lot of energy, maybe moved around a lot of emotion. And you opened yourself up to be vulnerable, which is very courageous and very brave. Go ahead and circle your hands together. Palms come to touch in front of your heart. I end all of my practices with gratitude. So thank your body for being strong and flexible and allowing you to experience meditation through movement. Thank your breath for giving you life. And thank yourself for showing up here on this mat today and doing something so good just for you, for your mind, and your body. Always be unapologetically who you are and let your light shine bright. Namaste. Slowly blink your eyes open and lift your head. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me today on the mat, and I will see you guys later. Bye.